Good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of day it is that you are listening, folks. Thank you very, very much for listening. Day today is the 23rd of September, year of our Lord 2024. Welcome to yet another edition of the Coping Hour, hosted by Nicholas Hinkle, a.k.a. Motown Noah. Got a big show for you guys today. You know what would be fun to start off with is an email that one of you guys sent in. Let me give proper credit here. I'm not going to read the full email. This one came into us from Austin. Austin, semi-welcome to the show. Not going to read the whole thing, but I thought something that you said at the end was interesting. You said, is your intro the year of our Lord 2024, said ironically at this point? Because I've been transparent about not so much what I actually believe, but more so the fact that I have a hard time buying into the whole, any religion at all. Just because in some way I don't know, we don't need to get into it again. Is it ironic? No. Why do I say year of our Lord 2024, but more importantly, year of our Lord, if I'm not a religious person? You guys want to know the actual reason that I do it? Because everybody that I've ever listened to, who speaks into a microphone, to me, what makes a person stand out are isms, right? What are their catchphrases? What are they known for? When you tune into them, what can you expect to hear every single time without fail, no matter what it is that they're talking about? Whether it's, I'm taping this on a Sunday night. We got the Falcons and we got the Chiefs on the TV right now. When I listen to a Mike Tirico, like what are the isms? A Gus Johnson, a Mark Jones, a Mike Breen, bang, stuff like that. And so years ago, when I first got behind a microphone, it was a matter of figuring out the cadence of something that felt right and that felt smooth and that I knew that I would be able to, do reps of every single time and feel like this is what my intro is. And a couple of years ago, the intro, just every show that I've ever done, originally it was Shoot the J, and then it became the Bunny Cardigan Show, and now it's, of course, the Coping Hour. I always started it by just saying what the date was and finishing it off with year of our Lord 2024, or rather whatever the year was. I think some of that comes from my grandpa, because whenever we would go up to my pop and grandma's house, and one thing that he would always say is, today is the day the Lord has made. Be glad and rejoice in it. And I don't know if maybe subconsciously that plays a part in it, but it's the isms that matter to me. So when you think about this show, what do you think about? You're like, what? You're like, huh? You think record scratch, freeze frame. You're probably wondering how I got here. Stuff like that, And at some point, I think it's because you don't want to go too over the top with it, right? You don't want to be doing karaoke of yourself and kind of playing into those things too much. Every time I say any of the isms that I have, it's always organic, even if I overdo some of them. It's just kind of the way that I do things. It's not ironic. It's a good question. Because at the end of that, man, we talked about it in the last episode. Like, I'm not going to shit on anybody just because they're a person of faith, just because they're God-fearing. It's just something that I was never able to get into myself. So, okay, so enough of the mumbo jumbo up top. Austin, I appreciated that because it wasn't, I honestly hadn't clocked it that hard to people out there who maybe were confused about that. So thank you for the question. I appreciated that. Hey, the Lions, they won a game. The Lions are 2-1. Holy smokes. Ooh, I was worried. We got an email here from Parker. Parker, welcome to the show. Subject line, Cardinals-Lions game is the subject line. Did I just say subject line? Cardinals-Lions game is the subject line. I digress. Hey, Nick, how's it going? A lot of very kind stuff up here at the top. Honestly, the Cardinals should have won that game. We are better in every aspect of football, but it was a good game. Good job on the victory. Thank you. I worked really hard on that one, Parker. Hopefully the Lions can get to the Super Bowl. I'm rooting for you. Also, I have a question about passion. How did you figure out what you wanted to... Oh, wow, we're getting in the weeds. I didn't read this part of it. Maybe we'll tackle this at the end, Parker. I don't want to derail what I was going to do with the NFL. How did I figure out what I was passionate? Well, I could give you a quick little spiel up top here. There's really no format. There's no actual structure to today's program. After the Lions won, we made a nice Buddy's pizza, some Detroit-style deep dish, found it at Jewel Osco today. Where all my Chicago girlies at? Shout out to Jewel Osco. We're a Jewel Osco family, not a Mariano's family, by the way. I don't know how you guys are out there. We shop at Jewel. Found a Buddy's deep dish, like, at-home kit at Jewel. The fuck? It's a couple, I don't know. I swear to God, I went to I don't need it. This is not the important part of I just need to, I had a few beers, and so that's why. That's what I was going to say. There's not a ton of structure, so I can just kind of ISO and talk about whatever I want to talk about today. So I'll just read the email. How did I figure out what I was passionate about? I'm struggling to find my passion at the age of 22, but I understand that what I'm doing right now isn't going to be my life, but I just wanted to know how to figure it out. I accidentally made my way into this. I just started doing content because it was what I wanted to do, and then people gave me a platform to do it and like an actual audience. And so I just used it as a vehicle to figure out what I was actually interested in and using it as something to pay the bills in the meantime. You know what I mean? The irony in that is that it devolved into something that actually doesn't pay the bills at all, and it's just more it's just more therapeutic for me to do it on a bi-weekly, not a bi-weekly basis, but like a twice a week basis. And so, you know, what is it that I'm actually passionate about? Brother, I'm 26. I'm still trying to figure that out. I think one thing that we've talked about a lot in recent weeks is we're often rushed into these major life decisions at an early age, especially when you're fresh out of high school going into college, and you have to make this decision where if you are pursuing a higher education, you know, you're going tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars into debt, doing something that you might actually not be all that passionate about. You know what I mean? And so I don't know, man. That's a good, I still don't know is the, I guess what I'm getting at there. But let's talk about the Lions and the Cardinals. That's not helpful to you at all. Sorry about that. Let's get into the Lions-Cardinals. Hey, when you said, honestly, the Cardinals should have won that game, we are better in every aspect of football, you're saying that to fuck with me, right? You don't mean that. I know you don't mean that, and if you do mean that, let's talk about it. I'm not insecure about this win, by the way. We should have won this game, and I'm happy that we did, despite, because here's what you're mad about. I swear to God, if you're a Cardinals fan, here's what you're mad about losing that game, is that at the 2-minute warning to close out the first half, Jared Goff snaps the ball, throws a pick six, and it's blown dead. Take the points off the board for the Cardinals because the rest were like, we blew the whistle. That was the 2-minute warning. This play literally did not count. There are two ways that I could approach this. I could give you a tight 3 to 5 minutes on why I think it was actually not dumb, and I don't think the Cardinals got fucked over. But what the broadcast gave us, what Fox Sports showed us, was that the refs may have missed that call. And they may have been like a fraction, like fractions of seconds too early on that one, and that maybe the point should have gone on the board for the Cardinals and that play should have stood. I have been a Lions fan watching these games for upwards of 20 years. In every single one of those years, that call goes against us, right? And so that's why it means so much to us as Lions fans, like the era that we're in right now, this proverbial era of Lions football, the Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes age of Detroit Lions football. Because calls like that never go our way. We have been on the opposite end of it. I watched Arian Foster be down for like a full second on a Thanksgiving Day game like 13 years ago, just for him to fucking scamper back up and dart off a 60-yard touchdown run on Thanksgiving. And there was nothing that we could do about it because replay at the time was in such a fucking caveman state that Jim Schwartz, his hands were tied. There was nothing he could do about it. I could go down the list of all the calls that the Lions have gotten screwed over in, right? So I don't feel that bad about it, honestly. And then the other piece of this is I went into this game expecting to lose because the Cardinals are hot right now, by all accounts. Sorry if me bumping the mic made a loud noise there. By all accounts, the Cardinals are kind of like a, whoa, wait a second. Do we got to keep an eye on them? Is this like a high-powered offense? Last week, Kyler Murray having a perfect passer rating. Don't even try to explain passer rating to me. I got to tell you, I know that I am a quote-unquote NBA guy. That's how a lot of you know about me and this Motown Noah personality is through the NBA. Kind of like what we just talked about. I use it as a vehicle because it's the thing that people have latched on to me as a personality the most from is me talking about the NBA. I'm a football guy through and through. That's what I played throughout elementary school, throughout middle school, throughout high school. I am a football guy. That is what I care about. It's just, again, people just want to hear me talk about the NBA more than anything else. Shit, why did I bring this up? Why did I bring this up? There was a reason that I brought this up, and I don't remember what it was. And I'm just going to have to power through. There's going to be some dead air. God damn, this episode's going to suck. Passer rating. It was passer rating. I got to tell you guys, I had to stop recording for a second because I was a little bit frustrated. Maddie pokes her head in from the next room. She goes, "Do you want help?" I look at her like I'm a fucking Looney Tunes character. I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She goes, "Passer rating. You were talking about passer rating." This is folks, This is what, find a woman who will poke her head out from the next room and remind you what you were podcasting about before before your brain just stopped talking about it. I care way more about football. This has been my entire life. I still do not understand how passer rating is quantified. I don't understand the math that goes into it. Oh, he had a rating of a 158.3. Fucking cool. What was his completions versus attempts? How many yards did he throw for? How many touchdowns? What's his touchdown to interception ratio? That's the stuff that I care about. Kyler Murray he has a perfect passer rating last week. Again, 4 incompletions. I still don't understand how that constitutes a perfect passer rating. Whatever, that's not the point. Isn't that the most flawed stat in the NFL right now and football across the board? It's kind of like when baseball fans were... There was this revolution of RBIs actually don't matter, and it's not really a good indicator of who is a good hitter and who isn't a good hitter. And I asked you guys in a very earnest way, talk to me about this. Why don't RBIs matter? And I believe the communication on it was because it's more of an indicator of the guys in front of you and their ability to get on base. But then I was like, but is it not then, do RBIs not then just become a clutch stat where it's okay, but you're still capitalizing on that? Because I could have the bases loaded every single time I go up to bat and I could strike out every single time. At least I'm getting those guys to home plate. You know what I mean? I look at a guy like Shohei Ohtani, not really from an RBI's perspective. We'll talk about Shohei in a little bit, actually. I'll put a pin in that. But Kyler Murray has been electric, and the Cardinals have been really fun to watch. And I'm watching him today, and even though he kind of had a middling game, and the Lions and the Cardinals each end up having the exact same amount of drives, and the Lions outgained them in every facet except passing yards, but they only threw for 14 more passing yards than us, and that was just because near the end of the game, near the the last 8 minutes of the game, it's throw. They're just trying to get back into it. It's a 2-possession game. So if you take that out of the equation, it's this should not have even been close on paper, right? But it was, because the Cardinals are a good team. I expected to lose this, honestly, because they've been looking electric and we've been a step slow. Last week out of Dan and Ben Johnson, you were like, what the fuck is going on? We're going into week 3 of the NFL season, and Jared Goff, before this previous Thursday night game with Aaron Rodgers, was leading the league in passing attempts. And then Aaron Rodgers, the reason I mentioned the Thursday night game is because Aaron Rodgers overtook him because of that game. That's not okay. That's not okay. When you have the offensive line that Detroit has, when you have a David Montgomery, when you have a Jahmyr Gibbs, Jared Goff should not be throwing 50 passes a game, right? When we're playing Tampa Bay and Vita Vea goes out of the game in the late third, maybe early fourth, and we're just throw. Run it down their fucking throats. What are we doing? That was the plan of attack today. We outgained Arizona on the ground by 100+ yards. This isn't even, what are we talking about here? This is varsity versus JV. This isn't even a real conversation in that department, right? Because with all due respect to James Conner, who is an NFL running back, it's night and day, right? On the opposite sideline, you have thunder and flash between Monty and Jahmyr Gibbs. And that's what we got today. Because I don't know what happened with David Montgomery this offseason. He's a little bit more quick-twitched. He's conditioned probably better than he ever has been in his fucking life. And he's able to move a pile better than anybody in the NFL who's not named Derrick Henry. That's just who he is. He's going to hit the hole with not even that Le'Veon sense of patience. Jahmyr has that in him a little bit, but Monty just kind of goes. And sometimes there's a little tip-tap around there. I'm telling you, we're seeing a David Montgomery that we have never seen before. Look, I'm a Lions fan, so I've seen his whole career, because even when he was with the Bears, we're seeing that guy twice a year. And outside of that, I'm like, damn, if that's a dude that... I looked at David Montgomery the same way that I look at Aaron Jones. And we will talk about the Vikings in just a second, Vikings fans. Don't worry. Where it's if I could have that guy on my team, you know what I mean? Because it's an automatic 3 to 5 yards every single carry. 3 to 5 yards is a Hall of Fame career. I don't think David Montgomery is going to go into the Hall of Fame, because I think the 2 Hall of Fames that I respect the most in the entire world, let's power rank these. I don't know if this is going to be worth it, but we'll take our take detectors out and boop, 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 boop. We'll see if there's something here. No, I don't mean that. I'll still say it. I don't mean this, though. I was going to say the NFL, the MLB, and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame seems a little Mickey Mouse. I can't think of anybody off of the top of my head who's in there that doesn't actually belong in there. But I can think of a lot of people in the Basketball Hall of Fame that don't belong in there, because it's the Basketball Hall of Fame, not the National Basketball Association Hall of Fame, right? But I digress. The Lions, off to a bit of a slow start, big win in Arizona today. Let's pivot a little bit. Let's talk about the two biggest, stories in the NFL right now. Hey, I'm going to need the Minnesota Vikings to chill. I'm going to need them to chill because I would be having a really fun time rooting for them if they weren't in my division, if this wasn't my problem. Look, we're only a fifth of the way through the season. You know, the first 3 weeks, we talked a little bit about it in the previous episode where because of how many teams, their ones and sometimes even their twos play like 30 snaps in the preseason, what we're starting to see is these first few weeks of the regular season are kind of like I don't know, like it's almost the new preseason, you know, and that's why you're starting to see some weird scores. We're in week 3. Baltimore finally got their first win in Dallas, barely squeaked that one out. I guess Dallas kind of came back at the end. I was busy watching the Lions, so I didn't get to watch the full thing. But the Minnesota Vikings are 3-0. Sam Darnold is their quarterback. The guy who they drafted and planned on being their starting quarterback, J.J. McCarthy, is out for the year with his meniscus, right? Okay. What a weird sort of, there was an ebb and sort of a flow with the J.J. McCarthy thing, at least on this program, because I had a vision. I don't need to, I will do it again. I had a vision like a week before JJ tore his meniscus that JJ blew out his knee and was out for the season. And I was like, damn, that would suck. It was like a weird, like lucid, I was almost asleep, but like kind of awake. And as soon as I realized what it was, I was like, wow, I hope that doesn't happen to him. Even as a Michigan State fan, I was like, I don't want JJ McCarthy to just smoke his knee. Like that wouldn't be cool because that dude is a point guard. He's a distributor, which is this new archetype of quarterback that we like to talk about on this program. It's just about giving the ball, distributing it to your playmakers out in space, the Brock Purdys of the world, right? There is a place for that kind of guy in the NFL. JJ McCarthy's not throwing these like 65-yard nukes to Justin Jefferson. That's not, he's going to give it to him on a crossing route and he's going to get out in space, whatever, right? So it goes to Sam Darnold, the mono king. And I'm like, cool. It's Sam Darnold. He stinks. Record scratch freeze frame. You're probably wondering how I got here. The Minnesota Vikings are 3-0. An incredibly convincing win today over the Houston Texans, a team that if there were like the hipster picks for the Super Bowl this year, you know, it's the Detroit Lions and it's the Houston Texans. I think even Bill Simmons was like, yeah, that's my pick for the Super Bowl. Fuck. Shit. So neither of these teams are making the Super Bowl. Nothing has irked me more than people being so high on the Lions. Like, it's cool because I've never seen this before in my life. Like, people being like, oh, yeah, maybe the Lions. Like, oh, what about them? Like, maybe them. But I'm like, please stop talking about us. We're 2-1. It doesn't matter. But the Vikings are 3-0. You have Sam Darnold throwing 90-plus yard touchdown passes to Justin Jefferson. That happened a week ago. You have him today throwing absolute squares in the red zone to Jalen Naylor, a Spartan dog, by the way. You have Aaron Jones playing maybe the best football of his life. I think like 2 of the longest touchdowns of his career have happened in the last 2 weeks. Huh? Why is this happening? I don't know when this is going to stop. I don't know when Sam Darnold is going to relax. That's a big win against Houston. They didn't squeak that out, by the way. They smacked them. Smacked them so hard, we fast forward to the end of that game, and Davis Mills is on the 1-yard line throwing 4 straight passes to Nico Collins, and he can't connect. Fantasy owners are crying and shitting and throwing up and sliding down the wall. Huh? Okay, so Minnesota needs to chill. Maybe that one will remedy itself, right? Can I give you the other one? Are the Steelers good? What's going on? What is going on? Not to sound like Tucker Carlson. What is going on? It used to be that the Steelers were bad. But now I turn on the TV on Sundays and the Steelers are good. What is going on? I'm devastated. Kind of. It's more just about no. Let me take that back. No, I'm not devastated. I like Mike Tomlin. I like Justin Fields. What did we say on this show? Both when the Bears were figuring out what they were going to do with him And then when they finally made the trade, we keep likening it to the Jaden Ivey thing. It will suck if and when it happens somewhere else for those respective fan bases that you gave up on this guy. Bears fans, their hands were tied. They had no choice. They had to do the right thing. The right thing was to part ways with Justin Fields and to take Caleb Williams, right? By all accounts, they smashed the draft, specifically the first round, getting Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze, who, by the way, caught a touchdown pass today. Hell yes, brother. We'll maybe talk about please remind me, you'll have no way of doing this in the middle of this show if you just leave a comment. Nick, don't forget to talk about the Bears and the Colts. You'll look like Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar. No, because it'll already be in the can. If I don't get back to it, I don't get back to it, right? Justin Fields is like looking good. I'm shocked because Arthur Smith is the OC, the son of a billionaire. And when he got that job, oh my God. Because listen, I don't think Desmond Ridder was a good quarterback. Falcons fans, there's like a civil war that is still happening with them where there's a contingency of, well, we should have never have given up on Desmond Ridder. Motherfucker got traded in a 1-for-1 for Rondale Moore. Something that you just don't see in the NFL is a 1-for-1 trade, like no capital or anything like that, just player for player. You just don't see that. And then Desmond Ridder, didn't he end up getting cut? What does that tell you about anything? Okay, so Arthur Smith is Justin Fields' OC. I'm not feeling too confident about that. But then we're 3 weeks into the season. He's averaging more rushing attempts than he has per game in his entire career. He's like actually using his legs in a smart and responsible way, unlike an Anthony Richardson type of character. Again, we will talk about the Bears and the Colts. Do not let me forget it. This is not foreshadowing. I will remember to get back to it. So Fields is going out there. He has a rushing touchdown today. He threw a touchdown pass, right? The Steelers are up to like 3 offensive touchdowns for the season. Whoa, everybody watch out, which is a far cry from week 1 when they won against, hey, we're watching Kansas City and Atlanta as we're taping this in the middle of the second quarter off the back of 6 field goals from Chris Boswell. That was like the entire offense. And what did we say after that week? All Justin Fields has to do is score like 1 touchdown on offense every week, and the Steelers might actually be okay. What if it was 2 of them, huh? What if it was 2 of them? I don't know. And so then, if you're the Steelers, I don't really want to call it a juxtaposition, but because you're not really paying either of them that much money. Okay, so when Russell Wilson comes back from injury, what do? Do we give it to the vet, or do we give it to the guy who's like reinvigorated not just the offense, not just the team, but the entire city, the entire franchise? You probably just keep it with Justin Fields, because if there's any future moving forward between these two quarterbacks, it's probably not the one who's like 38 years old, right? It's probably not that one. It's probably not the quarterback who's like sneaky, kind of going out sad, and the way that we view him like culturally. I don't know if you can hear the dog barking in the background. I apologize if you can. He's a small little dog. He's not going to keep barking that much. In fact, he's already stopped. It's probably not going to be Russell Wilson moving forward, and it's like if something happens to Justin Fields, you can just use him as a contingency plan. But as it stands, we're rocking with it, right? And this is what I mean. If you're a Bears fan, you're not regretting your decision. Again, you did the right thing. The responsible thing to do was take the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback out of the University of Southern California. It was the right thing to do. Unequivocally, no questions asked. Dust your hands. But those Justin Fields stands are pissed right now. Because it's not so much that it's like happening, right? When I say it's going to really suck when it happens somewhere else. It's not that it's happening, but they're winning games. Are Bears fans winning games? No, they're not. You know how I know that? Because the Bears versus the Colts today, between Freudian slip, between Caleb Williams and Anthony Richardson, was probably the worst quarterback play that you will see for the rest of the season. As long as, from 2 starting quarterbacks in the NFL, no injuries involved, that will be the worst quarterback play that you have seen all season. The amount of surrender cobras that you would have had to have done watching this game. We only watched it through Red Zone, right? Shout out to Scott Hansen being our vehicle, being our king. But it's mistake after mistake. Just poor throw after poor throw. Boneheaded into triple coverage. You're on the 5-yard line. And we've gotten a weird amount of emails from not even just Colts fans, but from some of you guys out there who are like Anthony Richardson truthers, who are like, this guy is the future of the league. I think you're fucking nuts, man. I think you're crazy. Because two things can be true. The highlights are good. The highlights are so good, right? They were at Florida too. That's why he was such an attractive pick in his draft, in his class. But if you watch him snap by snap, possession by possession, I just don't think there's that much room in the NFL for a guy who refuses to protect his body and is as reckless with his as he is. That's why he ended up getting hurt last year and ended up I don't want to use Tua as an example here because truthfully it's not the same thing. The way that they play is fundamentally different, but I'm just talking about the way that an inability to protect their body. When Tua got this most recent concussion against the Bills and immediately does the fencing response again, were we all kind of like, damn, did you really just scramble and then like lead with your head into, was it a linebacker? No, it was, oh my God, that's right. It was not a linebacker. It was Damar Hamlin's chest. It's not funny. It is, and hold on, it is not funny. But is there a funnier fucking thing that could have happened? That Tua Tagovailoa gets his 100th concussion. He's certified platinum in the NFL with getting concussions. And the guy who gave it to him was Damar Hamlin's chest? Roger Goodell could not have. I don't like this joke. So I'm just wondering if there's room for a guy like Anthony Richardson, who has incredible arm speed, right? He can whoosh, 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 whoosh. For our audio-only listeners, that's me whoosh, whoosh, whipping a football, because he can. You know what I mean? Accuracy issues, I don't know. You give him some weapons, he's got some weapons around him. Caleb Williams has some weapons around him too. You know what I'm tired of, though, with Caleb already? It's 3 weeks into his career. This isn't fair for me to say. Fuck it, let's do an overreaction. Hey, so his pocket presence sucks, right? His footwork is not good. His footwork is annoying. Because I'm mainly thinking of this the play that he had, the sequence that was in the Houston game. When he kind of bounces around in the pocket, gets his jersey ripped and, evades a couple tacklers. I don't care who it's against. When he's at USC in the Pac-12, that's a 70-yard touchdown pass. I watched him do it against San Jose State last year, right? He can spend as much time back there as he wants dancing around. Eventually, a Zachariah Branch type character is going to get open. In the NFL, it's a different beast, and you just can't do that. And his command of the pocket is just, in the first few weeks of the season has been pretty rough. Now, I don't know if I've said this before. If I have, I apologize, but it's the art of repeating yourself, right? Caleb Williams, for all intents and purposes, is somebody that we're rooting for in this household because as Roger Goodell called his name up onto the stage this past April was the exact moment that the nurses broke Maddie's water, all right, for my son to be born. So I'm like the SpongeBob meme. I got one eye down on the nurses, like popping a damn water balloon in her uterus, and one eye up on the TV watching Roger Goodell being like, and with the first pick, it's Caleb Williams. And that is what sparked my son being brought in the world probably like 8 hours later. He was, I don't know, maybe 7:30 in the morning is when he got born. So it ended up being like 12 damn hours later, honestly. But because of that, because her water got broken. Is this a weird thing? She's in the next room. I don't know if that's a weird thing for me to be saying on the show. So let's move on to something else. So let's do something different. All right. Let's move on to Shohei Ohtani. You guys want to talk about Shohei? No pun intended. The greatest show in sports right now. The day that we released the previous episode, we didn't get a chance to talk about this, but Shohei Ohtani has officially created the 50-50 club in Major League Baseball. That is 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases in a single season. I was listening to Ryan Russillo do a segment on this the other day. Watched a little breakout on YouTube. And I got to agree with some stuff that he said in there. Now, for those of you who aren't baseball fans, and you're like, wow, 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases in a single season, like that sounds like a lot. Again, not only is it a lot, no one's ever done that before. When he was at 42 and 43 home runs and stolen bases respectively, he had already broken it. No one had already done that before. He was in unprecedented territory at that point, uncharted waters. to be where he is now as of this recording. Shohei and Mookie Betts hit back-to-back home runs in the bottom of the ninth today against the Rockies to win the game. What you are witnessing is something that you have never seen before in your entire life. And at the risk of being a prisoner of the moment and speaking hyperbolically about a sport that is not my sport, why do we need to waste time talking about the, I don't know, the Sandy Koufaxes of the world, the Mike Trouts of the world, and talking about the GOAT? What the fuck are we doing? You've never been invigorated like you have when you watch this guy. And you know what the B story to this whole thing is? Listen, if you've been around here long enough, you don't have to be around here that long. Listen to the Coping Hour. You know what we care about. It's storylines and it's broadcasters. The B story, Joe Davis in the booth for the Los Angeles Dodgers is having a season that you will never hear from a broadcaster again in any sport for the rest of your life. To be chronicling a historic season from an all-time period, bolded, italicized, underlined, all-time great player. I listen to some of these calls and I get real life emotional. The other night in Miami, Shohei goes 6 for 6. He's got 3 home runs. He's got a couple doubles. Damn near hits for the cycle if he would stop hitting so many damn home runs, right? Got thrown out at third at one point, was almost a triple. Fractions of seconds away. If it wasn't a perfect cutoff throw, fractions of seconds away from a triple and would have hit for the cycle. 10 RBIs in this game. The Dodgers had like 20 runs. Joe Davis, and I so badly want to play the calls for you guys because I've made my own little compilation of all of my favorite Joe Davis, Shohei Ohtani calls this season. I'm kind of like I'm not conveying this the way that I want to. I've been thinking about how I wanted to communicate this to you guys all fucking weekend, and I'm butchering it right now. So let me just give me a second, give me some dead air, and let's chill, okay? So I can really communicate this. When I think about sports and I think about the moments that mean the most to me, it is not always the moment itself, but the way that it was documented and the way that it was captured by whoever it was that was in the booth. And when we are talking about a once-in-a-generation player in a guy like Shohei Ohtani, who you will never for the rest of your life see another player like this ever. I do not think that is hyperbolic. I don't think that it is outside of the realm of possibility that what we are witnessing in a vacuum is like lightning in a bottle. This will never happen again. And you're going to tell me, well, Nick, Babe Ruth happened 100 years ago. And if somebody like Babe Ruth pitched or hit against a guy like Shohei Ohtani, the guy is turning into a plume of dust. He is getting Thanos snapped immediately. I don't care how far medicine advances. I don't care if one day they allow HGH and steroids back into baseball. This won't happen again, okay? When you have somebody in the booth who understands the intimacy of those moments and reacts with such authenticity the way that Joe Davis has, I think to have somebody in the booth who is able to help immortalize those moments. At the end of the day, I get that it's Shohei doing it, but it's the way that the moment is immortalized. Every time you watch certain clips, you will always hear Joe Davis's voice. Listen, when I think of my favorite calls in the history of any sport ever, I think Joe Buck, Diggs, sideline, touchdown, unbelievable. One of the greatest calls I've ever heard in my life. I think about Dan Dickerson when Maglio Ordonez sent the Detroit Tigers to the World Series over the Oakland Athletics. Swinging a high fly ball, deep left field. It's way back. The Tigers are going to the World Series. Okay. Joe Davis had a call in the middle of like July against the Houston Astros. Shohei hits a nuke. And as soon as it leaves the bat, Joe Davis goes, I can't even say it, but I heard it. It's what I want to play the clip for you guys so bad. I just want to give him his props and his credit as much as I want to give it to Shohei too, right? But again, you know what we care about on this show. Folks, if the Dodgers don't win the World Series, I'm going to be devastated. They're so fun. They're so fun to watch. Now, man, for the baseball purists out there, you're going to think, what the fuck, dude? You're a Detroit sports fan. By all accounts, you're a fan of the hottest team in baseball right now, in the Detroit Tigers. Facts. That's what I've been told. That's what I've heard. Can I tell you something? Every time I've turned on a Tigers game, they've been on this stretch for what? A little over a month now? Like roughly a month? That they are just like, we were at the trade deadline like selling and being like, it's over. And now, ever since Javi Baez was like, well, he's sucked at baseball for like 4 years now. But ever since he got hurt, the Tigers just fucking rule. And as of this recording, we overtook the Twins in the wild card spot. So if the season ended today, we're in the playoffs. I believe that's right. I believe. But as we're recording this, the Twins are playing and all they have to do is win. There's about a week left in the season and we'll see what happens, right? Every time I've turned the Tigers on in the middle of this run, something bad happens. I'm serious. I turned on the Tigers and the Orioles on Apple TV the other day. And the Orioles go up like 3-0. It's the second inning. They rake 2 home runs. All right, I have to turn this game off. We end up losing. All right, that's fine. The game I don't watch, Riley Green wins it for us in extras. Fuck, I can't. I'm bad luck. I'm cursed. I can't watch the Tigers right now. I'm serious. So I'm interested. If Scooble's pitching, I will lock in, okay? That's my commitment to you. I promise you. If Scooble is pitching, I will watch because I believe that he's the best pitcher in baseball right now. Can I give you guys another thing about Shohei really quick? Something that we need to be conscious of, because some of you guys sent in an email this weekend. I think it was like 3 or 4 of you guys. Because Shohei created the 50-50 club, and there were a ton of graphics, tons of tweets being like, no player has ever done this before. Again, a couple of you guys sent in emails being like, oh, that's a Motown Noah 2024 bingo sheet. Bingo, because he did something that no one's ever done before. No, I really appreciated the effort. He has to do something that nobody has done since 1922. Not just ever, okay? We got bold. So something I need to mention here, I did some digging, got some information. Now, if you were watching the episode a couple of, maybe like 2 episodes ago when we did a brief recap of where we were at with the 2024 Motown Noah bingo sheet, what we were tracking was Shohei Ohtani needs to record 450 total bases this season. If he does that, it will be the first time since 1922 that has happened. The last player to do it was Rogers Hornsby, who was playing for, what was St. Louis back then? Were they the Browns? St. Louis Brown? That doesn't sound right, but he's playing for St. Louis. What I've learned is that included the postseason. Whoa. Shohei Ohtani right now, as of this recording, is at 384. He needs 70 bases. And that's not including what he did today against the Rockies, because Baseball Reference hasn't updated yet, and I didn't look at the box score as I'm doing this, and I'm realizing he's probably north of like 390, right? So he needs about 40 bases. It's like a week-ish, about a week left in the season for the Dodgers. But this includes the postseason. All he has to do is not get hurt, record 450 total bases, including the postseason, and that will be a bingo. That will be a bingo, ladies and gentlemen. So, okay, so what do you guys say we do something that I don't want to say is overdue? I'm just a little drunk, so I just... What do you guys say we talk a little bit about the coping tower and NBA Pyramid of Dumb? Because there was a lot of you guys out there who had some good feedback, some positive feedback, by the way. I got to say, some of the best interaction that we have had on this show, and I don't know how long, potentially ever, was the coping tower and NBA Pyramid of Dumb. I sincerely appreciate how many of you were willing to engage with that and also give me names, because that's what the coping hour inbox, copingoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically, email available in the description wherever it is that you listen to this program, was flooded. I have not had that many emails in I don't know how long of you guys just firing off a bunch of names. Now, the easiest way for me to do this, and to go over all of the suggestions that you guys had for additions would be to just read your comments. All right? The biggest one, the number one name that you guys were confused about that didn't get that didn't get included in the Pyramid of Dumb was Kyrie Irving. So let's talk about it. Why wasn't Kyrie like harmlessly dumb at the worst? Because I don't think he's dumb anymore. I don't think rehabilitated images should count. Like, you want my real take? I think the flat earth shit was like, that got taken way too far. He said something like in passing, and then everybody ran with it. And then even when it was like over and nobody was really talking about it anymore, he went on Kimmel and Kimmel asked him about it. And by then, Kyrie had already distanced himself from that take. And he was just kind of like weird about it. He's like, really? You're fucking bringing this up right now? And I think he kind of played along a little bit, but he was mainly just kind of like, fucking asshole. Like, why are you doing this? Like, if you guys did that to me, you would think I'm a dumb guy. Maybe I am, but I say shit in passing all the time that if you really latched onto it and brought it up to me for weeks, months, years, yeah, like I would seem pretty dumb. And then the other piece of it is, I don't know, when you don't have the Boston media machine or even the New York media machine with a microphone in front of your face constantly asking you prodding questions. Yeah, like he's in Dallas and the Tim Catos of the world are just kind of like, hey, so what is it like playing with a one guard like Luka Doncic? What's it like throwing lobs to Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford? And he's like, it fucking rules, you know? He's not burning sage anymore. He's just a rehabilitated image. Kyrie's not going on the list. Even if he's been a dumb guy in the past, he's not a dumb guy today, you know? And ultimately, and I may keep saying this while we're doing this part of the show, as the ultimate arbiter of truth for who goes on to the Coping Tower and NBA Pyramid of Dumb, I can't give you guys Kyrie because, again, he's rehabbed his image. We don't hear from him in that sense anymore, the way that we have from seemingly everybody else that was involved in the pyramid. So Kyrie's not on there. Another popular one, Jonte Porter. You guys don't even fucking care about him. I get it. He's dumb because he gambled on games and he gave people anonymous tips. Not even anonymous. He just gave people tips in like Discord. He's inconsequential. Like, who cares? You know? And you're going to look at the rest of the list and you're going to be like, well, Nick, is AJ Griffin that consequential? Yeah, because the way that he retired was fucking bizarre, which, by the way, the day that we published that episode, he officially retired from the NBA. He's on the list forever. He will be harmlessly dumb forever because he walked away from basketball thinking that the fucking rapture was going to happen. Dumb. But nobody cares about Jonte Porter. Nobody ever cared about him. He's not fucking Pete Rose, right? If he was like a Pete Rose type character where he actually had consequence in the league and he mattered, yeah, he can go on a list. Who cares, though? If anything, he's just more an interesting head case for the culture of gambling in modern sports. Yeah, he's dumb, but like, where do you want him? He's not harmlessly dumb. He's a criminal. But do we want him in criminally dumb next to the Jimmy Butlers and Tom Gores and Matt Ishbias of the world? It just doesn't make sense. But let's talk about his brother, though. Michael Porter Jr. I'll give you guys that one. No notes. That was a layup, and I smoked it. I missed that one. We'll put Michael Porter Jr. The next time you guys see this list, Michael Porter Jr. will be on there. Well, I think we might just wait until the season starts to bring it back, but we will put Michael Porter Jr. for all of his anti-vax shit. Harmlessly, it's technically not harmless at all. Well, I don't know. At this point, it kind of is because so many people have gotten vaccinated that if one guy doesn't get vax, I did say, can I give you guys? No, never mind. Who else is on here? Here's an interesting one. Might be the Bucks fan in me talking, but the Pacers organization taking Giannis's game ball after scoring 60 to give it to a guy whose first points were scored after a free throw was kind of dumb to me. You want me to put the whole Pacers organization on here? That's probably not going to happen. Shaq was a big one. Nick, glaring omission of Shaquille O'Neal on the Coping Tower, an NBA Pyramid of Dumb. Really, though? Does Shaq belong on there? I don't know if this is a disagreeable take. I'm going to deliver it, though. I'm going to deliver it with confidence. I think people expect way too much out of him. I think the people who are like, oh, inside the NBA is annoying because all they do is hate on people and they don't actually talk about hoops. Who fucking cares? Honestly, to me, that's like a bigger projection than anything. To me, that is the most like elite, not the most, but it's elitist. Because do you realize when people get off of work on a Wednesday, on a Thursday, and the Nuggets and the Lakers are playing a game, and they're like, oh, fuck yeah. Like, I just worked a crazy 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. construction job. Can't wait to get off work, crack open some beers, and watch hoops. These motherfuckers don't want to hear about analytics and hammer plays and highway screens. They want to watch Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley call women in San Antonio fat more than anything. They want an escape because that's what this shit is. Not everybody is a sicko who wants the X's and O's. Shaq is just fun, man. And you're going to tell me, oh, well, he's an all-time legend. Like, he has a responsibility. Bullshit. No, boo, tomato, tomato, tomato. The guy is an entertainer. At his core, he is an entertainer. I'd say the same thing about Charles Barkley, and a handful of you out there thought that he belonged on this too. I don't think that he does. You know why specifically I don't think Charles Barkley is deserving of being on this list? Because he tried to tell you 30 years ago that he's not a role model. Some of you weren't alive for that. I wasn't even alive for that, but I took that into account, right? He's not a role model. Just because he's famous, you know what I mean? Now, here's what I'll give you with Shaq, is it's clear that he's insecure about a lot of shit. It's clear that he's insecure. He's like, yeah, the Rudy Gobert stuff is weird. It's weird, for sure. He's just mad that Rudy's getting $200 million bags and that money didn't exist when he was in the NBA. I don't think that, like, yeah, he's a dumb guy, but, like, not in the, it's a harmless, oh, I was going to call him harmless dumb. Oh, little Freudian slip there. I don't think he belongs here, though. I think people just expect way too much out of him. He's an entertainer. He's here to make you laugh, do some nasal exhales. If you ever expect to get something insightful or meaningful out of him, just check what you're, just recalibrate is what I would ask of you. He's not going on the list. So far, who do you guys have? Michael Porter Jr., I gave you guys that one. Now, he's another big one. Jonathan Isaac. Yeah, I thought about him. I thought about putting him on here. Can I tell you guys why I didn't? Because I was thinking about it through the lens of, if this was the NFL, would I put Aaron Rodgers on here? To me, it's the same picture. .jpg. I would not have put Aaron Rodgers on the Coping Tower and NFL Pyramid of Dumb because he's my guy, because he's fucking funny. Just because some of the shit that he says isn't harmful and dumb, like objectively, it doesn't mean that he's not my guy, because he says it confidently, and a lot of it is so stupid that it's funny. You want me to put Jonathan Isaac on here? Why? Because he's a Republican? Why? Because he's conservative? That's not really the essence of the show. Why? Because he like wears clothes that is like, wokeness is gay. That's funny. It's funny. It's so stupid that it's funny. I don't think he's a dumb guy. I think he's like actually educated. In the flip side of it is like a Jaylen Brown kind of guy, where that's like pseudo intellect. I don't think that's real. A lot of you guys came out of the woodwork being like, oh, here's why Jaylen Brown is smart. A couple of you guys, even like 6 or 7, I'm telling you, we got like 40 emails in the last like 3 days. I've never been this overwhelmed with emails, and it was such a fun feeling. So again, thank you very, very much. copinghoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Email available in the description wherever it is that you listen to this program. The two most amount of emails that we got defending people, which I think is such an interesting, not dichotomy, but perspective on who listens to the show. Jaylen Brown defenders and J.D. Vance defenders. What the fuck? Talk about two opposite ends of the spectrum. Which one do I want to talk about first? Well, they were both the same. You guys cannot, under no circumstances, convince me that somebody is smart just because they have an education. When you try to tell me that a J.D. Vance, oh, well, he went to an Ivy League school. Oh, well, Jaylen Brown, he went to Cal Berkeley. That's a prestigious academic institution. Fucking cool. Just because you're book smart, I'm listening to these motherfuckers talk. Oh, Jaylen Brown had a NASA internship. Okay, Like, Elon Musk isn't the smartest guy in the world just because he fucking, like, owns Twitter and, like, people think he invented fucking electric cars. That shit was invented 30 years before Tesla was even a thing. So you showing me somebody's piece of paper and telling me that, oh, they're a highly educated person, I don't care about that at all. This is all stemming from me saying, why? Because Jonathan Isaac is a Republican. Jonathan Isaac is a Republican, and that's why I'm supposed to put him on this list. Like, I don't know. To me, that almost feels more like dog whistly than anything else. Like, because there's like one black guy in the league who is like staunchly opposed to everything else that everybody says on a consensus, that means that I have to put him in. I was like, no. Like, I just think it's the same way that I listen to a lot of you guys, honestly, that listen to the show. How many people did I just say have sent in JD Vance emails? I didn't respond to any of them, honestly, because I thought a lot of you guys were fucking stupid. But I didn't tell you that, and I'm not saying it on the show now, you know? I know, brother, in the last like 45 minutes, we've gotten 3 emails. 2 of them were like, hey, I used to be in the alt-right pipeline. That's like a big thing on this show, is motherfuckers who used to be in the alt-right pipeline. There's a lot of people who wanted me to have Jonathan Isaac on here. He's not going on the list, guys. He's just not. I'll give him one more chance. Let's wait out the election cycle and see what. Another email. I'm not going to read the whole damn thing. One of you guys just sent one in being like, oh, I think he's actually maybe turning into a Democrat because he just followed Kamala on Twitter. Doesn't fucking mean anything. What the hell does that have to do with anything? Back when I was on Twitter, I followed Trump because I think it's important to know what your political figures are saying. Sure, I didn't have to follow him in order to know, like, regardless, it was going to come across my desk, you know what I mean, through virtue of quote tweets and people being like, whoa, have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Trump going off the rails on Twitter again. But it's important, right? It's not an indictment on anything. It's just important to stay as involved as you can, you know? It doesn't mean anything. Guy's probably still fucking nuts. Here's a comment from Dylan. No way you didn't have J.R. Smith on here for the soup throwing incident. Why is that dumb? That's funny as fuck. That's not dumb. Pat Bev, Dylan Brooks, these guys are delusional, but they're not dumb. Like, they're just crazy. They're not dumb. Like, Dylan Brooks is just like, eh. Also, how many Rockets do you want me to put on here? I can't do that. Jordan Poole was another popular one. I guess, like, you have to be pretty dumb to get punched in the fucking face by Draymond Green and have it completely destroy your career because he fucking sucks. Which he does. I'm not going to, oh, man. I don't, hold on. I don't want to do this. Give me a minute. I'm not cutting this out. I'm going to go dead air for a second because I want to figure out if I want to say this or not. I don't know if there's a player in my life as a basketball fan who I have found to be as unlikable as Jordan Poole, and I thought to put him on this list would be like, oh, wow, there he goes again. Because I can do vendetta shit on this list, which I did. I put Jimmy on there. I can't also put Jordan Poole. It just didn't really feel fair. What are some other ones? Is there any other that I want to go through here? Some of you said Tyler Hero. I don't know. Maybe he's dumb. Maybe. Kyle Kuzma? No. And it was something about his fits that he wears. Kyle Kuzma's fits are bad. He wears them confidently. That's what matters to me. He believes in what he's wearing, and that's enough for me, you know, as a fan. It's kind of like when Drake was doing songs with Smiley. People would, Prada and Gucci don't go together. Louis and Dior, I swear, go better. And his cadence was like fucking weird. And people were like making fun of him for it. And I'm like, no, he's getting his shit off because he's delivering it confidently. It's the same thing with Kyle Kuzma wearing oversized sweaters and like the most bullshit fits you've ever seen in your life. Also a Flintstone, by the way, from Michigan. So I can't hate on him there. Another guy that I would love to see on the Pistons someday. Like sneaky, I don't know, man. I don't want to keep shitting on the Wizards because we're about to read an email from Tom. And at this point, this episode fucking sucks. So I might as well just get to the Tom question because it may save the episode and kind of get us back on the road a little bit here. copinghoursubs@gmail.com, spelled phonetically. Email available in the description wherever it is that you listen to this program. Whoa, he sent in a thing here too? Oh, I see what this is. Okay. So we got an email from Tom. Tom is the Coping Hour emailer, I would say. We read one from him in the previous episode. He's the one that's always in the bathroom, always on vacation. He's always got something crazy going on. Well, I kind of wanted to start something new where if you guys are having a dispute in the group chat with you and the fellas and you need someone to be the arbiter, I would love to be that person. I don't know if that's going to catch on, but that's kind of what the genesis of this email here is. And I think it's fun. So, Tom, welcome to the show. Welcome back to the show, of course, brother. Subject line, all caps, the boys group chat advisory opinion, parenthetically, first ever in show history. See, Tom knows what he's fucking doing. He's a content machine. This guy's a fucking master. Hey, Nick, school toilet, late night, long story. So I'm having this explosive debate in the group chat with the boys. It's John Wall, and we need the advisory opinion. Not to bore you with the legal language, but this is when a judge, parenthetically referred to as the court, close parentheses, offers an opinion to any matter, which is not a case that they are asked to advise on. We need the first official Coping Hour advisory opinion on this matter. It started with this tweet, and the tweet was, since 2017, Dirk Nowitzki has played in more NBA games than John Wall. I'm going to say that again. Since 2017, Dirk Nowitzki has played in more games than John Wall. Dirk retired in 2019, and John Wall signed a supermax in 2019. Now, you're probably wondering, what the fuck is the debate here? I don't know, because Tom, that's all he said, but it's Tom, so we have to answer it. So I'm just going to kind of pick up on context clues and figure out maybe what you guys were talking about. Because at the end of the day, this was an NBA conversation. So it was probably about like rangs or like legacy, who means more culturally to the sport between John Wall and Dirk Nowitzki. I don't know if this is a zag, but here at the Coping Hour, where when they zig, we zag. I think it's John Wall. I think culturally is more important to the sport of basketball. We talked maybe a month ago at this point about the sort of the ebbs and the flows of Dirk's career and how, what was it, 2007 that he wins MVP a year or two after losing in the finals to Miami, which he got killed for, by the way. And so they're the 1 seed and they smoke the first round to the, we believe, 8 seed Warriors. And then while Dirk is at home, he got his ass packed up. He's out of the playoffs as the 1 seed. They're already gone. And they announce that he wins MVP, and they do it in like a fucking closet. They announce that he wins the MVP in like a closet. It's like, whoops, he got killed for that. And then how did he redeem himself? By beating the Heatles in year 1. In a series that if you were alive for it, you will never forget it because it was the most like, what? And like, the fuck series that you've probably ever seen in your life. Rubbing your eyes like a Looney Tunes character. Is that JJ Barea? Is that Jason Terry locking up LeBron James? What the fuck is going on? Dirk Nowitzki wins a championship in 2011 against the Heatles in their first year. When you think about the boogeyman of what it meant to draft a European player, that was a big deal for a long time. We're not even that far removed from it. Porzingis was drafted in 2015? People were, I don't need to do the Pingus Tingus thing again, which it doesn't matter. I don't mean to sound like an asshole. I've never found that funny. It's just it's too easy of a joke, and it's just like, eh. But people at the time were pissed. Even Stephen A. Smith, like the day after, was like, what the hell? Like, what the fuck? My hairline, what the fuck? I don't think he said that last part. People were mad, and like, maybe it didn't work out in New York. I don't care. Did it work out in Dallas? Not really, but it's working out in Boston, damn it. And he's still an NBA player like 9 years later. How much longer his body will let him be an NBA player remains to be seen. But for right now, he's an NBA player, right? That worked. The European boogeyman is gone because the sport has been globalized to such a degree. I think Dirk was a trailblazer in a lot of ways for that to eventually become a reality. For sure. But I don't know. For the actual game itself? When you think about John Wall, the dude was a superstar before not just him getting into the NBA. Before he went to Kentucky. When you think about how important high school mixtapes were, before school. Like that's what you would watch. Like for me, the cultural disconnect here is I wasn't watching John Wall mixtapes. I was watching like Tavon Austin, which at this point for people my age is sort of like a meme, like, oh, those Tavon Austin West Virginia highlights. Yeah, but like no bullshit though. Like that's what I would watch before school, But for a lot of people, that was John Wall in high school. And what those mixtapes meant, again, culturally, the dude is at Kentucky and Troop 41 comes out with the song, which I bought on iTunes for $1.29 when my parents eventually got me a $15 iTunes card. $1.29 I pay for John Wall. I could do that dance like a motherfucker. I still could to this day, right? And he gets to the NBA. Listen, I can talk about Dirk as a trailblazer. I don't think this is quite the same. I'm not the history buff with the league, but John Wall popularizing this modern archetype of point guard who can lull you to sleep 20 feet away from the basket, but what he's going to do 5 seconds after that is detonate on your team's starting four at the rim with ferocity that you would normally see from like a small forward. But this motherfucker's a point guard. You know what I mean? John Wall was a trailblazer in his own right. And I think culturally what he has meant, but the flip side of it is Dirk being a high volume shooting big man, and how long it took for the analytics crew to catch on to that being like, oh yeah, like you're allowed to shoot if you're a big man. You don't just have to face up like 5 feet away from the basket. I don't know. I think I'm getting a little bit too in the weeds with like the nuances and like the cultural impact of these guys when the truth is I don't know if it's my department, Tom, but I hope that something I've said here has been clippable for you and clippable for your friends. And maybe we got to the bottom of it. I'm going to say John Wall, I think is, again, I don't know what the actual point of what you guys were arguing was because there wasn't really a question or anything like that. But I'm going to, if I have to pick one of them again in terms of their significance, I'm going to go ahead and pick John Wall. Let's do another email. Let's just pick like one last one. Seamus. Let's do Seamus. Subject line, how do you play sports games? Seamus, welcome to the show. Hi, Nick. Hope you and the fam are doing great. Sending this with love from Melbourne, Australia. I'm going to break the email for a second. Is it true that the Americanized way is to say Melbourne, but you guys actually say like Melbourne? Not Melbourne, but there's no like orn. Like it's a lot tighter than that. Will you try as best as you can, if I'm right, to like phonetically spell out? It's like, hold on, I'm going to move my mouth away from the mic so I can practice how to say it the way that I think you're supposed to say it. And I just don't want to sound, I want to rehearse this. Melbourne. Trying to say it like an Australian. If I was Nicole Kidman, how would I say this? Fucking get to that email, dude. Let me know, Seamus. In past episodes, you've professed your love for college football 25. I'm not a big American football guy, but I echo the sentiment for other sports. I'm curious how you play sports games. Are you sweating it up in multiplayer, nursing a team up from the bottom rung to top tier, assembling a super team and dominating all before you, creating your own player and controlling their destiny? For me, it's got to be putting together the most ridiculously overpowered team you've ever seen and winning everything I possibly can. I have no desire for realism or a challenge. Sue me. Sneaking in a bonus question. Have you ever watched an Australian rules football game? If not, you should. Right now, it'll blow your mind. Cheers, Seamus. No. Rugby's cool though. Can you give me that one? I like rugby. Shout out to the All Blacks. If I knew how to do the haka, I would do the haka like a lot, but I don't know how to do it. I'm also not menacing enough to do it, but rugby's cool. It's not what you're asking, but it's probably the closest thing, right? I like Australians because they always come from Australian rules football, and they're like really good punters and they're really good kickers in college and in like the NFL. So shout out to you guys for Australia. Really is like a sneaky pipeline for like kickers and punters in American football. How do I play these sports? Everything that you said except for multiplayer. I think college football 25 is the prime example of, first of all, I will not play sports games against other people because motherfuckers won't play the sport. They're playing the game. You know what I mean? There's a stark contrast between those two things. I won't play Madden against anybody because they play Madden. They don't play football. College football 25, you're almost forced a little bit to play football. But by now, it's been, 2 months that the game's been out. People know how to play college football 25 in the stead of football itself. When you play 2K, it's damn near impossible to play basketball. You're just playing 2K. You know what I mean? FIFA, I've never played FIFA against like a real sweat, so I could be off base here. So I'll just sort of dilute the take a little bit. Is it harder to play FIFA than it is to actually try to play the fucking sport? Do you guys get what I'm saying? Because when I play Madden against somebody, they know the cheese. All you have to do is just run crossers or just like run a vertical on like whatever it is. They know the glitches. They know the cheese and the bullshit. That's what I'm saying. You're playing the video game. You're not playing the sport. I think when people complain about these games, they're complaining about the multiplayer aspects of it and what comes with that. Dog, that's a user thing. That's not the game itself. You want my take? I think it's bullshit that 2K has like been the same game. Madden, all these games have been the exact same forever. But a lot of the problem lies in just what the multiplayer aspects of it are and the fucking microtransactions that go into it. Why is 2K 160 gigs? I understand that it's because of the park. Like I understand like structurally why it is that big. I don't use that shit at all because it's just not fun for me. I don't have fun doing that because people just are sweat too hard. It's the same reason that like I don't have fun playing FPS games online anymore. I stopped having fun playing Destiny because people just, at least like playing Crucible and playing Trials and shit. First of all, Destiny dead as fuck to me. Thank God the final shape wrapped up and it was actually pretty good and a really strong conclusion. I tried jumping back in like a week ago to see like what's going on with Echoes. I got it through like one mission. It was like, I don't fucking care about this anymore. And after 10 years of playing that game, it is such a liberating feeling to be like, I think I'm just done. But like you play Warzone or whatever it is, the movement that these fucking kids have figured out, Fortnite, the Fortnites of the world, the Apex Legends of the world. I don't know if like CS and R6 have anything to do with it. Truthfully, I don't know. R6 was always too complicated for me and also just there's like, I don't know, there's just too much going on and people were too good at it by the time I wanted to get into it. So the learning curve was too high and I just wasn't able to figure it out. And I was like, that's fine. This doesn't need to be for me. But like you think about like Apex and Fortnite specifically and what that did to motherfuckers and how it's like, how do I go 1,000 miles an hour and how do I don't know how to, I'm not the person to try to articulate this, but you guys know what I mean. Multiplayer just isn't fun for me anymore because it's just people are too good at games. And as somebody who's always been just like fine, like I've always been fine. I always had a positive KD in every Call of Duty I played from like Modern Warfare 2 to like Black Ops 3. I was always positive. And even if that meant like a 1.1, you know what I mean? Like I was always fine, but that's it. People are just too good now. And it's just not. So that's why I play the Skyrims of the world. But when I play sports games, yeah, everything that you said, as long as it's not multiplayer. Even in Skyrim right now, here's a little update for you guys. So I play with a stock market mod because it's fun. It's just an easy way to like game the system and earn some extra gold because you can manipulate the stock market and, it's crime and I love doing crime in video games. But then what I also did on my computer is I went into the game files and I put in a little command that made all NPCs killable. I'm talking everybody. Name them. The Jarls, everyone. The people who usually when you like quote unquote kill them, they just like go down on a knee, but they eventually get back up. No, fuck that. Everyone can die. At this point, I've done all the quests I want to do. This save at this point is just like me manipulating the stock market. So I said, what if I destabilized the region and I went from hold to hold, from village to village, cave to cave, the orc stronghold to orc stronghold, all of it, and everyone was dead? What would happen to the stock market and all of these shares that I own? Because at this point, I own all of not just Skyrim, but Tamriel. It's a very weird playthrough. It's almost kind of lonely because eventually the only hold that still has people is Whiterun because I can't do it. I can't do it to the people of Whiterun. No, not except like Nazim. I can't kill any of them because it just hurts me too much. And Riverwood, it's the other one. Everywhere else, everyone's dead. All of them. And you know what it's done to all of the stocks that I own? Tanked all of them. I have successfully destabilized the economy of Skyrim. Business is booming in Whiterun, though. So it's thank fuck I have a ton of... I mean, and I'm a billionaire in the game at this point. I have gold stocked up in all these, different barrels and cupboards and side tables and chests and shit, and a bunch of different little properties I have all over I'm also a landlord in the game. I downloaded a mod that lets you be a landlord, and every week you get to show up. I've kept all of the property owners who I purchased a title from alive so that they can still run me my shit. But the problem is I killed all their patrons. So it's sort of talk about a real rock and a hard place. There's a juxtaposition for you. I don't know what my end game is there. I've just killed everyone in the game. If you're listening to this on Spotify, be sure to rate 5 stars. If you're listening to this on YouTube, be sure to leave a like, subscribe. Nice little comment for the algorithm. Keep primary control in check. I will catch you guys. Oh, fuck. I was supposed to talk to you guys about Friday. Shit. I don't know if there's going to be dude, we're so busy. We're so busy this weekend. We leave on Wednesday. I don't know if you're going to have an episode. There will be communication. I'm so sorry. Because it bothers me if there's not going to be one. Friday morning, if there's no episode, just check out the Motown Noah community tab. I will make a post about it ahead of time if there's not going to be an episode. I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure that there's something there for you. I promise. I will catch you guys in the next one.
Beautiful, beautiful. Primary control. Beautiful. Primary control. Beautiful. Primary control.